It's many a long year now since Belgard Castle played its part in defence of the Pale. But if these walls could only speak, they'd tell many a tale of skirmish and siege and foray. Here, almost 500 years ago, the Talbot family ruled supreme. From being loyal guardians of the Pale, they graduated through the years to active participation on the Irish side. Colonel John Talbot of Belgard fought at Aughrim and the Boyne for James II, and, more fortunate than most, retained his estates under the Treaty of Limerick. Not long after this veteran was laid to rest in Tala churchyard, the bulk of the castle was demolished. Some of its stonework was employed in filling in the moat which then surrounded it. The remainder was used in the erection of this house, which has so many lovely features. A Wedgewood chimney piece, rare indeed, and something which, understandably, the present occupier does not intend to part with. In the dining room, a ceiling, its delicate plaster work in the best traditions of the 18th century. And contemporary with it, a wrought brass fire grate of exceptional design. Notice the intricacy of the chasing on this brass fire surround. The smoke of years had discolored it at one stage, but a little elbow grease, and there at the top was the maker's name, Hugh Clark. This very tower, perhaps, knew the footsteps of fair Emmeline Talbot. She who fell asleep one day in the valley of Glenismole and awoke as a prisoner of the O'Byrnes of Wicklow. Mountaineers round her sprung, savage their speech and tongue, fierce was their chief and young, poor Emmeline. So wrote Thomas Davis long, long after. But far from suffering injury, Emmeline fell in love with Conor O'Byrne, later rescued him from a dungeon of Belgard Castle, and married him to boot. For the last 2 centuries, this storied Irish home has been the cradle of so many different families. The Dillons, the Cruises, the Kennedys, the St. Lawrences, and finally Captain Anthony Maude, whose son now reluctantly disposes of the property after 50 years of family ownership. Some planted, some built, some little more than toyed, but each fashioned a little of it after their heart's desire. It is a masterpiece created by love and time, and in that sense alone, Belgard is priceless.